Hey everybody, my next guest is a comedian, writer, radio show host, and true patriot whose work can be seen on PJ Media, Fox News, and Real America's Voice. And the show, The Kevin Downey Jr. Show, can be heard on Long Island News Radio, 103.9 FM weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Here he is, folks, KDJ himself, the one and only Kevin Downey Jr.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing, buddy?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks. You've been paying attention. You know my credits better than I do.
Yeah, you're a busy dude, man. And congrats on the show, the LI News radio show. That's doing great, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really picking up. I've got the only local news station with a national audience.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I love it. The other guy's like, "Hey, how'd you do that?"
Well, you're speaking the truth, and a lot of people need to hear it, especially when a lot of the mainstream, access we get, media we get is all full of propaganda and
Right.
and misinformation, and it's just been crazy, man. How do you keep it? How do you keep it all straight? Where do you get your kind of facts from?
Well, here's my rule, and this is my rule for debating people on Facebook too. I've got a list of blue and conspiracy theory lies, and that someone was kind enough to type up. It doesn't have all of them, but it has a lot of them. The usual ones. Hunter's laptop is Russian disinformation. Trump said there are good Nazis. Trump said to drink bleach. I'll post that, and I'll say, how many of these did you fall for? One guy was honest. He said, "Oh, pretty much all of them." I said, "Then why would I debate you? This is what you believe, and you're telling me Trump's a liar, but you believed all of these." And well, I know why. I think I have a theory on why they believe it, and it comes down to the globalists realized a long time ago the way you take over a group of people, in this case Westerners, you play on their virtues. And what they said was years ago, that they were pounding it in our heads, you cannot criticize anyone of a different race, color, or culture, whatever. Otherwise, that would make you a racist. And they did this so successfully that for roughly 18 years in England, Pakistani Muslims, 85% of these rapists, they're raping women all over the country. 85% were Pakistani Muslims. And the cops refused to arrest them because they said it's going to look racist. If we're arresting some rapists, we're going to look a bit racist. So they let it go on.
Wow.
This is the indoctrination we're up against.
Because I feel like they weaponized empathy. I feel like the left or media or whatever figured out a way to weaponize what makes us great, which is our empathy and the fact that we do treat people with kindness, and they use that to their advantage and basically handcuffed us to our own devices. It's
and it works. I don't know if you saw this. I think she's a rep, Nancy Mace, was just called a racist by some black guy on TV, and then the black guy sends her text messages flirting with her, and she goes, "Look, he called me a racist on TV," and then he comes out and doubles down on it. Well, actually, she is a racist. Now she's giving me the white girl tears.
I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, "Shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together," and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
then
objection.
The guy says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other.
But it's become, the word racist has become such a weapon. It's meant to be a weapon. It was always meant to be a weapon. Do what we say, or we will call you a racist, and you can even get fired from your job. I was reading about a woman who allowed her daughter to undergo. I think her daughter is 15. Undergo physical transitions to become a boy.
Wow.
And someone said, "Why did you do it?" She said, "Well, I was just so afraid someone was going to call me a transphobe." Okay, so you let them hack up your kid because you're afraid of be called a word. That's how scared people are of this.
Those fear tactics worked for a long time. I feel like You know,
Yeah.
where people were afraid of being canceled, we're afraid of being called names, we're afraid of being seen in a negative light, or and this goes all the way through COVID with the vaccine and all that kind of stuff. But
Oh yeah.
I feel now when we're starting to see it, when they're starting to be exposed, the Faucis and the
Yeah.
Clintons and all the lying and all of the mishanded facts. I feel like people starting to figure out that it's all a bunch of BS and are starting to get braver. And I think with guys like you on the forefront out there with the megaphone and the microphones and kind of making it okay. I think you're giving people the strength to stand up against the machine.
Wow, thank you. Good. I want people to stand up to it because I see it now. It's a means of control. The word racist is a means of control. They have two ways to control us now. Again, always in the name of virtue. Virtue comes disguised as tyranny. Now, everything they want to take from us, they're going to decide is bad for the climate,
Right.
and
Exactly.
they'll get some idiots to go, oh yeah, we did a study, and your house pets are responsible for climate change because of the food they eat. That's how they're going after the house pets. But the cars got to go. Look, I think Scotland is trying to ban fuel burning cars. I think they're the first country to do it, all in the name of climate. But what they're doing is they're controlling how far we can travel. It's a
Right.
means of control. If you read, you know how everyone's crying about Agenda 2025 or Project 2025.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's a smokescreen. That's a smokescreen. They don't want us talking about Agenda 2030, which is very real. You can Google Agenda 2030, and you'll see that the World Economic Forum, the UN, all these communist-run institutions are pushing it. They don't want they want us to travel maybe 900 miles a year, and they're going to restrict our air travel. That means you're not going to go to Vegas. You're not if you work in Vegas, you're a comic, you work there 4 times a year. No, not anymore, because they're not going to let you fly there. This is control, and this is what this is all about. Everyone they want to get rid of, they will call a racist, and anything they want to get rid of, they'll say we're doing this in the name of the climate. So we got to take away your car, Don. And you don't.
The car, the stove,
Yep.
or anything that's powered by oil, or natural energy. It's just it's crazy, but I'm hoping that that I'm reading it right, where I was seeing a shift of people pushing back, and I'm hoping that holds strong, and that's why I think that, like, this election is very, very important, because we saw what happened and how drastically and how fast things changed under the Biden administration, and who knows what can happen with another 4 or maybe 8 or maybe forever if they get in. What we're in store for. I mean, what's the prediction if it goes south?
Oh, I don't think there's going to be a real election after this one. I think this is our last chance at least at a semi-fair one. I don't think this one's going to be fair. I will tell you this: these polls are not they're not closed. Donald Trump is beating the potato salad out of her, but the media will keep the polls closed so that they can cheat her in. That is their goal right now. That's why she's not giving a speech. They're not giving us any. They're not giving the polls, the pollsters, any reason to mark her as negative. They're not going to let her speak. If she speaks, they know her polls will drop, and all they have to do is keep her polls up. That's all they have to do, or even pretend, because they're not real. I promise you, they're not real. I take phone calls and text messages from people around the country, and in key states, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. And a guy just told me, oh, I'm a delivery guy for UPS. He goes, I'm seeing 70% Trump lawn signs. And people go, well, you can't really judge by a lawn sign. Well, you actually can, because now you know how that house is voting. And
Right.
I've done this before. I've been predicting presidential elections since George Bush's re-election, and I did it by counting signs and giving different points to different size signs. Anyone can put a lawn sign on their house. Remember, though, there was a time when if you put a Trump lawn sign on, that meant someone's going to throw eggs at your house.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it still might. But I'll tell you this: 3 years ago, if you were wearing a MAGA hat, someone was going to spit on you. Now they're cool. Now
Yeah.
MAGA hats are cool. I was at a bar after the Trump rally out here in Long Island, and these 4 young, they must have been like 22, 23, and the 2 chicks were stun guns, and they were with these 2 guys. and they had all their Trump hats. And the guy, I said, how was it? And he goes, you know what? It wasn't a campaign rally. It was moving. There's something going on out there. And I said, yeah, it's a movement. This isn't just a guy telling campaign promises. And the guy goes, man, I felt it. That energy was just insane. Just insane. There's a real movement going on. And I'm telling you, man, I didn't know that this was going to happen, but Trump hats are cool again. Trump is cool. I wrote an article for PJ of 7 different rappers coming out for Trump. And when I say rappers, I don't mean, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. These are like, one guy even said, are we keeping the language clean here?
You could speak freely. Yeah.
Okay. This guy goes, I'm not into rap. This guy goes, I am from the motherfucking hood, and I'm telling you, the hood is for Donald Trump. And then 7 more came out and said it. So, yeah, Donald Trump is cool again. They never saw that happening.
I love the signs behind me. Blacks for Trump. I like those signs. Blacks for Trump. You watch. You watch. Those signs are great. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. It was a time when, where a lot of Trump people, a lot of megas were kind of keeping it quiet, because conservatives generally are quiet about their politics anyway. Yeah. But they're keeping it quiet and all that. But now it's like you said, I'm starting to see a shift where people are emboldened, and they're feeling the passion of the right, and they're also seeing the exposed left for what they are. They're seeing the lies. They're seeing the ABC debates. They're seeing all of these things where they're like, hey, hold on a second, and also the whole Israel thing, and the protesters and the vile that's coming out from the left side. I think it's turning away a lot of people. And look, when I start to agree with Bill Maher on stuff,
yeah,
that's when and Bill Maher's still anti-Trump guy, but I think the battle, the real battle is against common sense versus absolute lunacy. And right. I think that's what's kind of bringing a lot of people together, especially in the comedy world, because comedians have a bullshit meter like no other. They sense bullshit a mile and a half away. So I think even the Bill Mahers, even Jon Stewart's, even the most, there's other ones that are completely off the radar, but those 2 guys in particular will kind of bend and see the light, at least for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Maher knows that the party's been hijacked by lunatics. He gets it.
Yeah,
he gets it, and he's not only a Democrat, but a pretty far left Democrat. But he's not a communist, and that's where he's drawing the line. And right. He's even said, "Look, you want votes? Stop saying we're going to cut off your kid's dick. Right. That's all you got to do. Just stop." Something like that. Maybe I said, I don't know, but he was talking about the trans nonsense. He's like, that's where you lose, when you go after the kids.
Yeah, I think going after the kids, I mean, the trans issue, some people think it was manufactured by the left wing from inception, pretty much, to make it this big of a hot topic. And
I completely agree.
Yeah, and I think it's just there to divide us.
You die every day. We got 52. Look at all the suits. I ain't seen y'all stand.
Okay, I'm gonna say this.
I know that's all
I'm gonna stand with my sisters and brothers. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna stand with my sisters and brothers, and I'm tired of them dying. Just like you tired of your brothers dying, I'm tired of my sisters and brothers dying.
I know. You've probably seen these knuckleheads. Queers for Palestine. Like, yeah, go to Palestine. Count the queers. Count the Pink Panthers. They're all dead. They're all dead, you idiots. But that hive mind, you're a victim, we're a victim too, and it's all those people, right out of the Bolshevik playbook. Separate people by class or by whatever.
And that's the one thing I don't like, is whenever you disagree with anything on the left, any of it, whether it's any of the hot topics, with trans, abortion, what's the other ones? There's a couple I can't think of. Oh, vaccines, all these, right? They will then, or DEI or whatever, they will then boom come at you hard with all of these horrible names or accusations about you as a person. But when you're actually really, I would think, the one that's for the rights of the people. Don't we have rights too?
Well, we do, but they're trying to take them away from us. And speaking of COVID, Did you see the guy who was the New York City COVID czar?
I think we'd have gotten like a hard time if like New York City found out that you're having sex parties during COVID.
Yeah, it would have been a big thing. Yeah, it would have been real embarrassing.
Yeah.
In a scathing video released by conservative podcaster Steven Crowder, Dr. Jay Varma, New York City's former COVID czar, boasts about throwing sex parties during the height of the pandemic. The clips posted to Crowder's YouTube channel seem to have been compiled from several different recordings where Varma is caught on camera speaking to a woman about hosting drug-fueled orgies with his wife and attending underground dance parties with more than 200 people.
It was fun. We all took Molly.
He's an ugly dude too, so I don't know how he made this happen. But he said during the worst of it, the COVID thing, he goes, "Oh, me and a bunch of my friends would rent hotel rooms, do Molly, and just all have sex. We're going to sex parties." Oh yeah, we wear a mask. Oh, you're having sex, and I can't come. I can't walk into a diner on 43rd Street to get a cup of coffee in the winter because I don't have a vaccine passport.
I think I heard that you talking about this earlier today on your show. As a matter of fact, now you said it, right? Yeah. That's crazy. So the czar was out having sex parties while we were told that to stand 6 feet apart on dots inside the supermarket and all this stuff, or if you go the wrong way up the aisle.
Yeah, and remember Fauci going, well, for Thanksgiving, probably have 10 people, no more than 10. Like, who the fuck are you? And now New York City's guy, he's getting banged in hotel rooms on Molly. I'm getting yelled at by people going the wrong way down a one-way aisle. I just want some Kraft macaroni and cheese. You're going the wrong way, you granny killer.
Everything that we do to prevent infections, keeping distance, wearing masks, washing our hands, we need to be even more rigorous about.
During that same exact time period, Varma regularly appeared on Fox 5, encouraging New Yorkers to mask up, stay home, and practice social distancing as public health officials sought to contain the deadly virus.
You can't make this stuff up, man. This is like we're living in a weird dystopian sci-fi film, and everything is real. And like, to your point too, with the stoves and the electricity, and then also, is that true about the pets? Are they really trying to take pets as well? I wouldn't be surprised.
I kid you not. They're saying that the animals used in pet food are cow farts are going to make the planet explode or something dumb. It's all about. If you watch this video by the World Economic Forum, they say here are 8 predictions for 2030. One of them is no more meat. And that's just to keep us weak. That's the only reason. Take away our primary source of protein. And then take away you watch these liberties disappear little by little, but it's always going to come down to the climate. Now, I'll tell you this, who's not worried about climate change? Well, that would be China. China is not worried about it, but who's making these rules up? China. The globalists are making them up, and the Chinese are. Okay, I think that the New World Order, I'm not sure everyone who's involved, but I promise you it's China and Iran. I promise you it's China, Iran, and a couple of others. I'm sure the U.S. will be part of that, but not until we gavage in another 60 million illegal immigrants. But that's all about taking things away from us.
I forget who said it, but somebody said that he goes, if they're worried about the climate, he goes, don't stop taking planes or driving gas cars until they do. If they're worried about the food, don't stop eating meat or anything until they do. Yeah, he goes, if they're afraid of COVID, don't start wearing masks or avoid restaurants until they do. So it's always like, if it's really a threat, wouldn't they be the first ones not to do it?
Yes, and remember, during COVID, so Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, he had a big dinner party at a restaurant. Stretch and Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, she told people don't go to Florida, and then she took a private plane to Florida, and then she had a big party with her staff in a restaurant. Nancy Pelosi had to have her hair done. All these people make up these rules are the ones breaking it. This fucking guy's going to sex parties on Molly. He's like, I just had to blow off some steam. Fuck you.
Really?
How come we couldn't go to Molly sex parties? You fucking commie.
That's like let them eat cake type of shit, man.
Yep.
Ain't got no cash, ain't got no car, but 24 booster shots in your arm. Oh, nothing. Be happy. You can't even buy shit in their store because of your low social credit score. Oh, nothing. Be happy. You'll own nothing. And be happy. Be happy and eat the bugs.
With Trump, we got him now a second attempt. Do you?
Third.
What, oh, well, third if you think about the Mar-a-Lago, right? That's what you're talking about.
No, I'm thinking they just arrested a Palestinian guy with ties to Iran, who flat out said, "Yeah, I'm here to kill Trump," and he was talking with undercover FBI agents. So that's yeah, that one didn't make as much news, oddly enough. So there's three there, and Matt Gaetz, who had a meeting with the Secret Service, he said there are 5 hit teams in the U.S. right now stalking Trump.
I'll break a little news for you. I had a senior official from the Department of Homeland Security in my office before the second assassination attempt saying that what he has assessed is that there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States, 3 inspired by other governments, 2 that are here that are known domestic assassination teams. And with that, this individual was coming to me concerned that the force protection around President Trump, even prior to that second assassination attempt, was not sufficient.
Do you think he is going to make it?
I'm terrified he's not going to see Election Day. Now, I think if they kill him, what's going to happen is, and I think they know this, I think they know that if they do that, the Republicans are going to win elections and take back the country. And I think right now I think they may have overlooked that. But now that we've had 3 attempts, it's just going to get to a point. I think they're normalizing political violence too. And if they do get away with it, they're going to kill everyone they want after that. They're going to make it normal, like it was in Russia. It became normal for politicians to just disappear and their families. So I'm very worried that they're gonna get him. I hate it.
What's scary too is if what they're able to do to Trump, and this is anybody on Democrats watching this on the left side, Trump haters, if you're watching this, if you made it this far in, congratulations. But if you're watching this, you have to understand that if they're able to do this to Donald Trump, to the president, then any of us, small potatoes, are easily they could do it to any of us. So that means all of your rights could be stripped at any second.
It's already happening too. A 75-year-old woman was sent to prison for 2 years. She's in a wheelchair. 2 years for praying and standing in front of an abortion door, a door at an abortion clinic. 2 years. But some BLM princess who torched a cop car got 15 or 16 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the same thing, we saw the same thing happen with in 2020, all of the people burned down the cities.
Yep.
All those protesters, they were getting bailed out by Kamala Harris.
I think about Vice President Kamala Harris. She actually raised funds to bail out criminals early. One of those criminals that her fund bailed out just a few weeks ago murdered somebody 3 weeks after being released on bail that now Vice President Harris's fund provided.
And keep in mind, Antifa had nearly 50% of their federal charges just in Portland dropped when Biden took over.
Yeah.
These are people throwing rocks at cops, aiming lasers at cops' eyes. One guy lit a building on fire with cops inside of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and these are the people walking. So it's just amazing to me that either people can't or won't see it. Now, and I get if people lean left, they have no idea because their news isn't telling them. But their news did something very smart. They said, you can't go to Fox News. That's for idiots. You're smart. You come here to CNN.
Right. and the CNN, so many of these news outlets have been so debunked and so exposed for their lies as well, like straight up.
I just had 2 comedians say, how can you vote for a guy, Downey, who said to take horse dewormer to fix COVID? I said, you mean ivermectin? They go, yeah. I said, that was approved for human consumption in 1987.
And the guy won a Pulitzer. Yeah.
Yeah. by the same FDA who actually had the balls to say, hey, y'all, you're not horses and cows. Don't take ivermectin. See, that's how deep the rot is. Someone said, get the FDA to send it. They got sued. They had to take the tweet down. Excuse me. But they were backing up the lie that ivermectin was for horses.
Do you think a lot of people fall in line on the wrong side, whether it's Hollywood or politicians or whatever, because of things like Epstein or Diddy or whatever? Do you think there is some truth to that people are being blackmailed into voting certain ways or being persuaded to, sign different laws into effect? And,
Yeah, Representative Tim Burchett from Tennessee, he's become very vocal lately, and he's fun to follow. He said, here's what happens. You got these people, they come to Washington, and let's say you got a guy who's a representative, and suddenly, he's got power, and suddenly there's this pretty girl at the bar, and he ends up in a hotel room having no idea that she's taking pictures, or that there's something in her purse taking pictures, or her glasses are taking pictures. He goes, when you see a Republican vote for something the Democrats want, they've got something on that person. And it's usually sex related. So without a doubt, I agree.
Yeah, and it's such a tool to utilize sex. We see, throughout our history, so many people, kind of fall that way. There's a lot of scandals and things like that. So you could see it being easily to manipulate and get somebody over there and then control. And you got guy, Klaus Schwabs of the world or whoever kind of, the deep state will get you to fall in line.
Absolutely. I think a huge chunk of the Republican Party is being controlled by those people. Or I look at Mitch McConnell. His wife is Chinese. They own a shipping company that ships out of China. And China said, hey, we'll loan you the money for the ships. So they basically gave them a shipping company to make them rich. But now Mitch has to do what China says.
Yep.
Just like Joe Biden. We know for a fact that he took $27 million from other nations. The Oversight Committee landed on 27, and Hunter is being tried for tax evasion on money he got from China. And yet, where's the hoopla?
That's the thing. And that's why you wonder how I think we kind of know, but do we really know how deep do these roots go? And how much do they really control? And that scares me when we go into another vote, another election year. How controlled is this? How is the outcome already set up? Like how deep does this thing go? And that's what scares me. Like you said, this might be the last legitimate election we have. And how legitimate is that one going to be?
Yeah, that's what they're going to cheat for sure. We just, like Trump said, it has to be too big to rig. And we can't just sit down when they cheat again. Because I went last time they cheated, like a few days later, I was at the bar hanging out. And I said, no, they cheated. This is not. And the guy goes, well, what are you going to do? Put your pants on, go to work. I said, no. That's the way they want you to respond.
Right.
No, it's not how you do it. I think you're going to see an uproar this time. And you know what? If something's going on globally, it tells me the globalists are behind it. So right now, they're protesting in Brazil because they know that a communist took over.
Right.
They're trying to do away with free speech. No more Twitter there. Twitter's you'll notice that there are lawsuits in the U.S. against Twitter. In Brazil, everyone's going after Twitter now. Everyone's going after Twitter because Twitter right now is their enemy. Oh, you know what I was going to say? Look at Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz wouldn't fall in line. So about a year and a half ago, they said, we've got proof Matt Gaetz has been having sex with underage women, and there's trafficking. And it went nowhere. It fell apart because he knew they had nothing. But they tried to ruin him anyway.
Congressman Matt Gaetz is in Miami this weekend, where he made his first public appearance since the House Ethics Committee opened an investigation into whether he violated sex trafficking laws. He spoke yesterday at the so-called Save America Summit at Donald Trump's golf course. He called the allegations against him, quote, wild conspiracy theories, and continues to claim that it is all part of an extortion plot by a former DOJ official.
That's what they do.
Yeah, he cannot be controlled. They tried, and they're going to keep trying, but they're not going to do it.
Once they know they can't control you, whether it's Trump, Matt Gaetz, Twitter, Elon, they will try to destroy you any which way they can, including literally kill you.
Yes.
And, and we don't know for a fact if the government is involved in any of this stuff, right? But it seems a little shady when you look at, the way their reactions to it. And especially on the left, when you got Hillary coming out, still pounding her chest that Trump is of Hitler.
And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is.
And it's kind of, it's scary, man. And I don't want to keep overusing that word, but we're in scary times, and we're seeing the politicians take off the mask and showing us who they really are. And it's just like, hey, if you don't fall in line, we're going to get you, and we're going to get your leader. And after we're done with him, you guys are just nothing, red meat.
Nothing. It's like picking fleas off at that point. They've already started imprisoning people. They're going to wait till you see what happens if they get Trump. If this thing goes bad.
That's what scares me.
I think right now, Trump, Elon Musk, and I would say a handful, I'd say Rand Paul, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, a few other people, maybe no more than 10. This country is being held together by 10 public figures 10 people I can probably think of. And I'm sure there are people behind the scenes we don't know doing impressive things too. But if you were to take out, let's say, Trump, Elon Musk, that's the end of the movement.
Yeah. Because do you think J.D. Vance or Tulsi do they have the juice to take the reins?
You know what? I don't know if they have the juice. I think what would happen is people would be so disgusted that they would vote Republican, and that might be a turnaround there. See, whether he lives or dies, it's the movement. I mean, we want Trump without a doubt, but if Trump were to get killed today, the movement wouldn't end. It would just grow stronger because we would be so angry.
He would be martyred, and he'd be. Forget it.
Yep.
I think he'd be in a way stronger. Because people would rally against him even harder, and like you said too, other people would join the fight at that point.
There'd be some Obi-Wan Kenobi like thing going on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And they got to realize that, because I was just like, because I mean, they really almost killed him in Butler. That was just a shocking, like, how did he happen to turn his head? Like, what are the odds? And everyone was shocked. And now this one, they're normalizing it. But they're going to make people, they don't understand. He's in charge of the party that has the guns too. And I'm obviously not making any threats, but I'm just like, you're going to piss off too many people with too many guns.
Right.
And how do we think that goes?
At one point, I felt like Biden was goading the right by saying, "Oh, you guys got AR-17s or whatever. We got fighter planes," and he's like smiling all like kind of. But I think I don't know if there was an uprising, if they would utilize the military against its own people. Like I mean, I don't know what would happen with that.
Let me run this past you. 10 years ago, the military wouldn't have done it. But what have they done for the past 4 years? They've gotten rid of the tough guys, the real warriors. Oh, you don't want to shock it out. Hey, we're bringing this guy. We're going to teach you. We're going to teach you a pronoun appreciation. Well, right. Now you've got a woke military. You've got General Transmabob in the Air Force. You've got a woke military. Those people will be happy to shoot us because they've been taught to hate us.
Yeah.
There they are. There's the Trumpers. They're the bigots, and they're the racists, and they're the transphobes, and da-da-da. Now look at the cops in Australia, just beating the potato salad out of people who were they're protesting over their lockdowns. And I saw 2 girls around 14, 15, whatever, getting choked out for not wearing a mask. But these animal cops. A woman in her 70s, they blast her with pepper spray. And the spray the cops use is way different than the stuff you get, at the military surplus store. And this elderly woman falls down, and the cop walks past her, turns around, blasts her in the face again. You had to get Grandma Dynamite twice. And I asked a retired cop, I said, are they going to do that here? And he goes, absolutely, they're going to do that to their own. The cops will do that. And I
Wow.
said, he goes, you want to know why? I said, why? He goes, paycheck pension. Did you see the video in Minnesota? The cops with the paintball guns?
Get inside! Get in your house now! Let's go! Light them up! Go inside now! Get in the house!
Get in, get in, get in, get in, get in, get in. Get in. Oh, God, that hurt.
So here's what happens. 2020, Minneapolis is obviously there's a riot for St. George Floyd. And there's a family on the porch and cops going by with paint guns going, get in your house, get in your house, light them up. And so these families with pepper balls, boom, 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 all over. Sorry, paintballs, not pepper balls. Okay, now what were they doing to the rioters who were burning the city? They were letting them go. And then they're going into the suburbs saying, you people, get in your house, we're going to hit you with paintballs.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy because I think a lot of us, we get labeled conspiracy theorists, but we're seeing it happen with our own eyes. When you see stuff like that, they're forcing you in the house where they burn down the cities. They close down with COVID, close down the cities, and let the big corporations run their companies while the small mom and pops were forced to shut down.
Yep.
They all the price, the hike on minimum wage has gone way up. Where so if you're a small mom and pop like restaurant or something like that, you can't pay your staff like what you did. I feel like there's definitely they're trying to weed us out and control us and put us and almost force us into submission, where you have no choice but to become a socialist or whatever, or obey the government.
That's 100% what it is. Remember, the communists, they don't like overachievers. They think everyone should be at the same level. And so how do you do that? Well, you chase out the business owners. I think 70% of businesses in the U.S. are mom and pops. Chase all those out. Now you've cornered the market. Now Amazon runs everything. And that video I told you about, the first thing it says that World Economic Forum video is, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Own nothing and be happy.
Right.
Oh yeah, you want a bike? Okay, here comes the drone with your bike. Oh, wait a minute. Look at your ESG score there, Don. What you said, men can't breastfeed? Oh, you're a bigot. Okay, no bike for you for the next 6 months.
Right. That's true, because I watched with the World Forum, there was a woman like doing a TED talk about own nothing and be happy, and here's how great it's going to be. And if you imagine the hassle of owning a car. You have to take care of the car, wash the car, but now you just get picked up and dropped off, no parking spaces needed, and they're trying to like make it convenient. So you'll be like, just like with Facebook, where we give all of our information over to Facebook, voluntarily. They're trying to get you to do the same thing with this freedom. Oh, you know what? I won't own anything. Maybe they're right. I'll just rent all my stuff, and I won't own a thing anymore. Just live in my pod in my 15-minute city and just be happy.
And here's the next level of that. And I firmly believe, and they've got a guy, Project Veritas has an undercover video of a guy from the State Department admitting this. He goes, they're bringing in people from Latin America, Venezuela, and a little from Cuba, because these people are accustomed to socialism, whereas we Americans, we're accustomed to liberties. So how do you fix that? Well, you bring in a bunch of people who, yeah, you can pay for everything I do, and I don't care what you do. Just, make sure my debit card's full, and you guys can rob the treasury all you want, as long as I'm getting my little piece. And that's how they're going to take over. And people like Don and Kevin, well, sorry, that house you got there, Don, we could fit 3 families in there, and it would cost us. I mean, look at building another house. The effect on the climate would be such that you don't live here anymore. Now these three Rwandan families, they live here, and they don't like you. They don't like your culture or anything. And now you're in a pod, and they've got your house.
Yep, it's scary, and you're seeing that with squatters' rights and things like that. They're kind of already kind of setting the stage towards that. We're seeing that happen with all these immigrants kind of coming in. They'll squat in your house and they'll take it over, and it's hard to get them out if you do even get them out.
Yep. There's a guy, he's got a business where he goes, I'll get your squatters out. I go, how do you do it? He goes, yeah, you don't have to worry about that. They just go and they grab these guys and go, you don't live here anymore.
That's
if you come back, we're going to hurt you. Oh, okay.
I'd say, anti-squatter activist, squatter hunter, squatter remover, just do what I have to help people get their squatters out.
Some people might call you a type of exterminator.
Yeah, well.
With this, if, we have to see Trump get to the end. It has to, like you said, it has to be too big to rig. How do we know that? Like, how what can we do different than we did in 2020?
That's a great question. The good news is, so Luzerne County in Pennsylvania just said no more drop boxes because they caught a lady putting 5 in.
Yeah.
And they said, you can't do that. Well, I don't have time. I got to go to work. So they took 4 out. They said, we'll keep yours. And then Luzerne County said, all right, no more of this. So that's good. There are some new rules in place in certain states, not Michigan. Michigan is fucked. In Michigan, it's now, I think it's like borderline illegal to question the outcome of elections.
Wow. Yeah.
And the electors, they said, if you don't elect as you're told, you will be put in prison. The Secretary of State has been clown slapped in court like 3 times. She keeps trying to say we don't have to check the signatures like she did in 2020.
Right.
It's not her call to make, but she did it a month before the election. And by the time someone put in, a suit to stop it, it was too late. The election was going to take place. So she told all her clerks, don't compare signatures on everything coming out of the drop boxes. So we know right there, and there's no evidence that she. Yeah, I just gave this up. So right. I think Michigan is gone, unless something happens. Now there could be a terror attack this weekend that makes everyone go, "Holy moly! I better vote for Trump." I promise you. So this is sick, but in 2022, a 14-year-old girl was raped by some transgender dude at her school. And they didn't punish the kid. They sent him to another school where he attacked another young girl. And word got out. And I think that helped Glenn Youngkin win.
Right.
Now, yeah. I don't know how I see at least a minimum of 1, sometimes 3 or 4, probably 3 a week. Illegal immigrant rapes 10-year-old boy. 2 10-year-old boys have been raped by illegal immigrants just in August. I read another one today. Illegal immigrant rapes a 13-year-old, 12-year-old. It's happening all over. Excuse me, all over. And it's sick to me. Like, I'm friends with people who are still going to vote for this, and I don't know how I can be friends with them.
Some people are just so brainwashed that they're not going to bend no matter what. Like, they're just, no matter what. Like, it's so crazy to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I've said to people, what do they have to do? Well, what does Donald Trump have to do for you not to vote? I said, no. Your side is letting people in who are raping, killing people. Well, we have rapists here already. Right, so don't have any more.
Right, exactly. It doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it right. What worries me too is I'm wondering is if we did get a terrorist attack or we went to a war before the election, if they would pull a martial law and try to postpone the election or put it off or something like that.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. I'm expecting some sort of terror attack. And it could be the CIA behind it. It could be whomever. I'm expecting martial law. I'm also expecting them. They're waiting for Trump to do something so they can say, lock him up now.
Right. Yeah.
Because they've tried to lock him up. If he said so, and they can't get him on anything. They have nothing to do. I mean, they want to put him in jail, but they also know that is going to hurt them.
Right, because they've seen every single attempt that they do against him makes him stronger, more popular. I mean, he beats them every time.
Now, here's the sick part. If they can somehow cheat Kamala into winning, well, Trump's going to prison for a long time.
Right, yeah.
A long time. They've got 34 felonies, and they're bogus, but they could go, all right, 6 months for each one.
Yep.
Oh, 18 years. Of course. Yeah. They could do something insane like that on something that wasn't even a crime.
Right. Exactly. It's that's what, again, that's what makes me nervous is the fact that if the government is able to do this and use lawfare against Donald Trump or Giuliani or whoever the other politicians or important the people at that level, we're all sitting ducks at that point. So they could definitely silence all of us. Like like this podcast, just shut it down. Fox News, take them down. Twitter, take it down. Just silence all of our voices.
It will be very, very easy to do. And unfortunately, all right, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass anyone. There's a comic, you probably know him. That list of lefty lies they told you about. I said, tell me how many of these you believe. And he goes, well, you just cut and pasted about yourself. I'm not going to even read it in that format. What do you mean that format? Like, what kind of format do you want me to paste your lies in? He just will not face them because he knows he can't win when talking about the truth, but he doesn't care. That's the sick part. He doesn't care about the truth. What he cares about is his commie agenda.
And that's scary too, is that there are a lot of followers out there, a lot of minions, a lot of people that don't really may not follow politics too much or whatever, just get their news on TikTok or however they get from their friends or whatever, that are so blind to the facts that they don't even want to hear the facts. And they get more mad at you for telling them the truth than the truth.
Imagine that. But that just tells me someone is so warped that they just wait for it. What are we doing? We're riding for George Floyd. Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it. We're going to burn that neighborhood because they don't vote our way. But imagine having a list of things that you believed in that were proven to be untrue and going, well, I don't like the format. I don't like the way those things are listed.
I'm not going to look at. I don't want to look at the truth in my face. And then the excuse, I just don't like the format, the font. I don't like the font style you used on that one.
But imagine being so. I hate to say, so easy to control.
Yeah,
that person, they're so easy to control. They want to be controlled. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to believe.
Sheeple, it's the sheep, man, and that's what they depend on. And,
absolutely,
and that's why they shame you into if you go against the herd. They shame you, and then you fall back in, or you be a black sheep at that point.
Absolutely. But being the black sheep has become cool.
Yep.
Trump is expected to get no less than 15% of the black male vote up to 50 years old. That right there is a landslide win for him.
That's huge.
And you know, it's funny, like they're going to try to make that not happen. So what they're actually going to be doing is they're going to be stealing the votes of black men who like Trump. Although they accuse, even Joe Biden, they're going to take the vote away from you. No, you're going to do it.
Right. Everything they do, everything they accuse us, the right wing of, they're guilty of.
Absolutely.
To one extent or another. And the Nassau Coliseum rally they just had a couple days ago, I know you were there, you and Jessica, and it looked like it was an amazing turnout. And I feel for the first time, and probably my whole life, that New York could potentially flip red. I could see it happening.
I can too, because I was. Where were you living when Giuliani took over as mayor?
I was in Brentwood, New York. Long
Island. So remember, I moved to the city in '86, and when Giuliani took over, there were 2,000 murders a year.
Yeah.
Because Giuliani ran against Dinkins once and lost.
Right.
It hadn't gotten bad enough yet. So a few years later, they run again. And now people said, that's it. This place is enough of a toilet that will vote for something else. It just comes down to whether or not people are aware enough or if they've had enough. And I think in these, in certain, like maybe poor black communities, I think a lot of them have had it.
I think they've had enough too, and I think a lot of them too that were dependent on the system are now seeing it all go to the illegal immigrants that have come in, and they're upset about that because now they're seeing it firsthand. Like, hey, they're taking away these things that I used to get.
Yes.
And now, so they're feeling the sting, and it's got a face to it now, and it's affiliated with the left. So they're starting to come over to the right for like you said, it's getting bad enough now where they're all going to start jumping over.
And I think if you contrast Trump's 4 years to Biden's, anyone paying attention can't say, yeah, Biden's been doing great.
Yeah. You mean he doesn't belong on the Rushmore?
Yeah.
Such a consequential president of the United States, a Mount Rushmore kind of president of the United States.
Are
Want
you
to know
really
what comes
saying
next?
That he belongs up there on Mount Rushmore. Lincoln and Joe Biden.
But you got Teddy Roosevelt up there, and he's wonderful. I don't say take him down, but you can add Biden.
Oh man, it's just sick to me. I remember people screaming about Donald Trump Jr. shot a cheetah. Okay, your guy took millions of dollars from the Chinese.
It's crazy, and who knows what he got he gave in return with all the FBI files and all the classified documents. Who knows what?
The Chinese didn't give them that money for nothing.
Exactly. So it's oh man, it's just so nuts.
We found a handful of documents were filed in the wrong place. We immediately turned them over to the archives of the Justice Department. We're fully cooperating, looking forward to getting this resolved quickly. I think you're going to find there's nothing there. I have no regrets. I'm following what the lawyers have told me they want me to do. It's exactly what we're doing. There's no there. Thank you.
What do you think is the ultimate end game for the deep state? Why are they doing all this?
I think the ultimate end game is also in that World Economic Forum video. There will be no more superpowers. There will be a one world order. Like
right.
Look at the European Union.
Right.
That was just an attempt to get all these countries under one rule.
Right.
And they fell for it. And the UN, look at the UN. The UN is the same thing. All of these, I think and there was a time when I would have laughed if someone said this. They want the new world order. They want the 8, superpowers deciding everything. The US, China, Iran, and remember, someone said this. Robert Spencer, a guy I work with at PJ Media, he said Islam isn't so much a religion as it is a form of world dominance.
Right.
And they want the world. That's why they are taking over Western Europe, and that's why they're punishing people. That German politician, all she did was post some numbers showing that asylum seekers, which are 11% of the population, are committing 55% of the gang rapes, and they fined her for telling the truth.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and that's what we're all going to be in store for if things go sideways. We have to make sure that we keep our freedoms intact and all that stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, I think if they somehow manage to cheat Kamala in, I think it's over, and I think you're going to see people going to red states. Texas, Oklahoma, Florida. You're going to see people say, well, okay, we see it coming. Maybe we can live out the rest of our lives with some form of liberty in one of these states. But but then again, look what they're doing. The federal government is putting 20,000 Haitians in a tiny town, tiny little hick town outside of Columbus called Springfield.
Right. Yeah. They're flooding Springfield. They doubled it up within a matter of weeks, pretty much.
Yes, when I arrived outside of Springfield City Hall before that meeting, people were standing outside with American flags and signs calling for Springfield City Mayor Rob Rue to resign over mismanagement of city resources, and especially with how the city is handling that influx of immigrants.
And it's also now one of those things where, God forbid, you say something bad about that, you're vilified, like Trump in the debate. They're eating animals. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then they made that into memes and stuff like that. But
they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
I want to thank you so much for doing this. Just tell everybody where they could find you, catch you, listen to the show, your radio show, and all that stuff.
Sure. Thanks, man. You can catch my radio show Monday through Friday, 10 to 11. Go to LI, stands for Long Island, linewsradio.com. You can hear it all over the country. There's an app. You can read my codswallop at pjmedia.com, and you can watch me. I'll probably be back filling in a little bit next week on Real America's Voice. Show's called Live from Studio 6B on 8 to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Awesome. Well, man, Kevin, I appreciate you doing this, taking the time. It's always a pleasure talking to you about all this stuff because the world is a crazy place, and it's always good to hear your take on it.
Well,
and
thank you. The pleasure and the privilege is mine.
Yes, sir. Everybody, check him out. KDJ, everybody. Kevin Downey Jr., everybody.